Hey, hello. So I thought I'd start with something simple, and and already start with React testing library. And the thing that I thought would be interesting, well, not interesting, but just kind of simple enough, but difficult enough just to show you different ways of testing that would be a forum that you can add books, and you would see a list of books to read. That would be like a kind of to-do list, but with books. And we would store it in local storage, so that way we would also have to look how to mock local storage, because in testing environment where just runs our tests, there is no local storage. So that would be a useful thing to learn. So yeah, let's start with that. And to start, we will create this new component that I would call add forum JSX. You can also call all of this JS. It's it's a matter of preference. I call React components with JSX, and if I have something that's pure JS, some just logic in it, I would call it JS. But okay. So we create that, and here we would import React from React, and well, that's kind of standard. Export, okay, let's start with class. Let's actually make this. I would copy this just to get a little bit faster. Add form and make export default. Add form. In here, we would write our form. We would have a label that would say add new book. Beside that, an input of type text and an input of type submit. So that's our component. And let's also add an inline style. I'm not going to create style files in this series because I don't want to overcomplicate things. Just a simple looking app, just to show you the testing part and nothing else. So what we'll do here is padding left, let's say, or no, padding right, let's say 10 pixels maybe. That might work. So what we do here is we add this, add form, and we have to import it. The thing I didn't do in my Webpack config that I will show you right now, and so okay, that's add form. What I didn't do in my Webpack config is it didn't know how to resolve JSX. So if I did just that as it is right now, it would give you an error. And by the way, this, after I finish it, it will be on a different branch in GitHub. So if you know how to use Git, you can just switch branches and just look at the final version there, but I would strongly recommend that you type it out so you would remember it better. So yeah, after you import this add form, in my first initial version of Webpack, I did not have this. I now added it. It would not resolve this. So to resolve this, I just added this option here in my Webpack config that what extensions it should resolve. So it's JSX, JS, JSON, and when you would be dealing with styles, you would also add here a style loader. You would also write here CSS, .scss, whatever styling option you would choose. But enough about it right now. It's not about Webpack config here. Okay, we have this, and let's write our first test with React testing library. Let's just see that it renders in our test. So to do that, let's create a test, and I would create my test after a name component. So that would be add form test.jsx. In here, we would import also React from React, and we would import a render method from React testing library. Okay, so we have that. There will be a few different things right now that will be new. We did not discuss it before. So first we have not only test ingest, we also have this describe. And this describe is, consider this as a mental consider this mentally like a block that a whole set of tests that you see as a whole to test one thing. You might put in a describe block, and well, in our case, we would call it add form adds new books, and inside that we might have a different test, like let's say component renders. That will be our first test, so we would start with that. Beside that, what I would need here in this test, there are methods ingest, those are called after all, that you would pass a callback into. There is before all, there is after each, and there is before each. And the only one we would use in this example would be after all. What that means is if you want to do something before all tests run, like some work you have to do before all tests run, then you use before all, you pass a callback in here that would do some work. The same applies to after all, it just does everything after all the tests are run. After each would mean that after each of these test blocks run, it would do something, and the same thing before each, so it would do before each test run. So I would have my component, let's say here, let component, and here, after all is done, I would run component onMount. So that's a method on React testing library. So let's call React testing library. Okay, onMount. So that, what does it do? Okay, this will cause, we would render components in our test suites, and onMount, we needed those components to onMount, and this is useful when testing happens when your component is removed from the page, like testing that you don't have event handlers hang out around causing memory leaks and all that. So right now we have one test, and we don't even need to component onMount after all, but in the future we would have many tests, and you would probably need to onMount your components either after each test is run or after all tests is run. Right now I've put it after all block just to show you this. So to render your component, what you need to do is, what you need to do is component render, and you pass your component the way you would use it in your React class. So this is it, and this will work. If our tests don't crash, it does work, and you've rendered your component. If it doesn't give you any errors, and it does give us errors because of what? Add form is not defined. So yeah, before you can do that, you have to, well, import your component. So from add form. So right now you made sure that your component renders without any errors, and that would be your first test. So what would happen in the next video? In the next video, we would look at how to change value of this input. Right now it's uncontrolled input. It means that we don't have state bound to it. User just can type into it. Okay, I have some error probably here. Okay. Okay, I will look into that a little bit later. So yeah, in the next video we'll look at how to test typing into this input, and then we'll look at how to submit this form, and how to show the list of books, and how to test all of that. So let's actually look what happened here. Yeah, so right now it's uncontrolled input. You can write whatever you want, but you don't have the access to the value you type here. All of that will be in state in the next video, and I would show how to test for it. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.